Hey guys, how you doing? It is episode 26 of Cat Banter. It's your homie Leon here. I am here with my co-hosts Pierre and Jason Mead. We have a very special episode planned for you guys. Ryan from Noble North is in the house. He's going to go under the cap with us. And we have some special stuff planned for you at the end of the show. So make sure you guys stay tuned for the rest of that. But until then, Pierre, take it away.
Yeah, listen, you sweet skipping son of a bitch. I knew I'd get you on the show eventually. This is like I'm in heaven, man. I'm literally looking at a legend, not only in hats, but in the skipping game.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. I can't gloss over what was Leafgate 2020.
What? Leafgate 2020?
Yeah, and I'd be lying, Ryan, if I said I completely believe that those are real leaves still. Still, I have a hard time believing it.
Allegedly.
You know what? I'm surprised no one called out that the colors of the leaves actually changed from when I took the photos and then when I did the video. I thought someone was going to call it out or whatever. And yeah, they're not oak leaves. They're hard to find, by the way, and they still haven't even fallen on the ground. So yes, they're maple leaves, but yeah, they were real. And that was like the third or fourth location that I actually went to find leaves. Surprisingly, like it'd just be way easier to buy fake leaves.
So Ryan, did you skip over to the tree, climb it, and pluck the leaves off if they haven't fallen yet? Like, how'd that work?
They're already on the ground.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think the mystery's been solved. I'm still a little skeptical, but I think the mystery has been solved. But I do want to say your rebuttal via video was perhaps one of the most genius things I've seen all year.
You know, I was laughing my ass off when you guys were debating the whole thing, and you wrote the script, so I made the video. You like legit wrote the script, so I just made it.
Yeah,
I was like, I gotta show, like, I don't know. I was feeding off you guys. And I was like, you know, I'm just gonna do this. It was fun. It was Thanksgiving weekend here, and it was a Saturday or Sunday. I didn't have anything going on, so it was pretty fun.
So Ryan, I know Leon already knows this, but I'd love to know: is your Thanksgiving built on something positive, or is it built on the thought of a massacre like ours is?
You mean in general, or
what's the Thanksgiving in Canada? What does it mean? Because ours is based on horrific terror and evil. I'm wondering what yours is based on.
I mean, not that. Definitely not that. Thanksgiving, just, you know, spending time with your family and being thankful for what you have, and family and friends, and spending time with them. So I'm sure it's a lot more deeper than that, but that's what it is for me, at least. So yeah.
Nice. Well, Ryan, again, you know, we're going to move past it. I'm sure, just so you're aware, like, you don't know me that well yet, the skipping thing's going to come up again. But what I want to start with is I want to give you an opportunity to kind of share a little bit about yourself, man, because I think a lot of us, the viewers that are watching right now, myself, Leon, Jason, we've been buying your hats for a long time.
Yeah.
But it would be great for people to get to know a little bit more about you.
Yeah. I don't know where should I even start? Like, just
let's start at the earliest memory you have, Ryan. So you're a wee lad running through the forest as a child in Canada. That's when your love of leaf and horticulture began. Let's start there.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. You kind of stumped me there. I don't know where to go from there, but
no, start with, like, listen, you know, all kidding aside, like, I'd love to hear more about, like, you know, your early years, like, what were you into, like, what, because a lot of folks, just so you know, Ryan, like, a lot of folks that we've had on, right, that do great stuff like you do, there's a number of different things that kind of early on kind of formed where they are today. So,
right.
For example, like comic books, like, you know, Jason Mead, for some godforsaken reason, likes DC. We like Marvel. but some of the artists that we have on and the designers and the people that are kind of built up these nice, beautiful hat empires started with some sort of passion when they were younger. So do you know what that was for you?
Yeah, it was just I was definitely attracted to logos on hats, baseball hats. Some of my favorite logos, like the Blackhawks logo, the Cleveland Indians logo, Blue Jays logo, stuff like that, right? So I was attracted a lot to design, right? And then colors. So I have some first memories where I definitely, one of my first fitteds were like an Oakland A's hat, the dark green and gold. Cleveland
Can I ask you a
Indians.
question, Ryan? Does it have a lot to do with some of the hats you put out in that colorway?
Yeah. So I kind of go back and think of the hats that I had first gone when I was young, and my brother and I. So yeah, the Marlins colorway, stuff like that. And yeah, like design, like I've always loved different logos and designs, and I think I have a good eye for like what looks good, and I'm attracted to those kind of things as well. And yeah, so then fast forward to like high school, I started getting into more design, like computer design. Originally I wanted to be an architect, and then that was way too boring. Like,
Oh, that's interesting. That was me too, Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first thing that I wanted to do. I'm like, oh man, after I saw what it really was, then I went to accounting and I was like, fuck this. This is too boring too.
Right.
Yeah,
I did it too. That was boring.
Yeah.
Like I like how buildings and stuff look, but once I got into like the line work and all that, I was like, this is way too boring, like different AutoCADs and stuff like that. So like when I was in high school, I started getting into like Corel Draw. What was the other one? Fireworks, I think they had at that time. So yeah, like there was a communication tech program that I really enjoyed. I was in yearbook. I did some design in that and stuff like that. But then I went to college, Fanshawe College in London, Ontario. And I live in Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario. The store's in Tavistock, Ontario. So it's not to confuse everybody. But anyways, I went to school, college for multimedia design and production. So that that let me dabble still kind of what I was doing in high school. I was using programs like Illustrator, Photoshop, video editing software, audio, 3D. So I did that for 2 years and I got the hell out of there. And I got my piece of paper and I was like, all right, I'm going to start working. So I started working actually doing web design. So yeah, I was working web design for a couple years for a company, and then that was the recession hit in 08, and then I went off and did my own thing, freelancing, and I kind of was doing some web design work still for the previous company I was working for.
Yeah.
I just went off and did that. So web design, branding, stationery, stuff like that for a lot of people that were lost their jobs and they were starting new businesses for themselves based off hobbies that they enjoyed and stuff like that. So and stop me or interrupt me anytime because I'll start going over
No.
here.
I'm you know what? I'm kind of intrigued by all of the different paths you've kind of gone on or skipped across. Yeah. They kind of came together and like those different paths, right? And those different things probably helped shape some of what you do today, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was one of those things where like I'd go work for a company and then I'd either get laid off or like no, I was going to get fired. So then I just went back to freelancing. But then there were times when I would just come into a business and work there and I'd help them do their rebranding, get them up to date online and all their marketing and stationery and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I was working for a company more recently for 3 years as a marketing manager, and I was doing pretty much everything in-house myself.
Yeah.
And I was kind of getting a little bored with it, and it wasn't an industry that I was super excited about. But overall, it's been my like favorite job out of all of them. So yeah, then at that time, I started kind of dabbling in hats, like designing my own hats and making my own hats. So I was kind of working full time when I started Noble North. I don't know if you want me to go into that or
Yeah,
not.
let's wait 1 second there, right? If I could, Ryan, because I want to just ask one other question. So leading up to that point, were there any like key individuals that you really looked up to that kind of shaped where you were heading?
I mean, in different aspects. So there were, when it comes to Noble North and the hats, I mean, there's always like that, like if you want to go down that route, maybe, or
Yeah, go ahead.
all right. So yeah, Clink Room, once I found out about Clink Room, once I got on Instagram, like 2012 or whatever, I found out that there was this whole other world of other people who collect hats, right? It was like, it just like opened up the vault or whatever, right? It just a floodgate of people were doing the exact same thing. They enjoyed hats as well. I somehow came across Clink Room, and it really, like, I don't know if they were still doing the first 1.0 at that time. I might have caught the end of it when I got introduced, but that really opened my eyes. And because I was going back and forth from jobs to like doing freelance, I was kind of like, was kind of getting bored making, I've made hundreds of websites and, you know, making logos for lawyers and boring stuff, you know? So I wanted, like, I kind of was thinking, you know what, I want to do things that I want to do, that I'm interested in. And because I can do all those things myself, why don't I just do it, right? So, but yeah, Clink Room was probably the first ones that really opened my eyes when it came to designing hats.
That's awesome. So Ryan, so we're moving towards like now let's move into the phase where you're embarking on Noble North as a brand, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about that. Tell us about, you know, the vision behind it. And, you know, I'd love to hear more about that leg of the journey.
Yeah. So so I wanted to make New Era hats, right? So in order to make New Era hats, you have to get an account. In order to get an account, you have to have a brick and mortar store. So in I think it was summer 2017, I started looking around, and Ron from Four Corner, he really inspired me to open up my own store because I saw he opened his own store, and we used to talk a lot around that time, and it really like motivated me to be like, shit, if he's done it, like, why can't I do it, right? And I didn't want to live with regret and not be able to like say like, okay, well, I tried it, or you know, I never got to try it. Like, I'll never know what that was like, right? So I started looking like for small spaces for me to open up a store, probably within like 30-minute radius of where I live, right? And I was going for a specific look for the building or like the unit. But a lot of places you'd get stuck in like a 12-month lease. And that was like, I was already taking a risk even trying to even consider opening a store without any retail other than I worked at KFC in high school. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, right? So I was like, I found this space here on Kijiji. I don't know if you guys have Kijiji in the US. Sorry.
Craigslist. Craigslist for Americans.
Yeah. So I found it on Kijiji, and based on the pictures, it was exactly what I was looking for. So it was like December of 2017, I guess, that I came to the space and checked it out. And because it was like monthly lease instead of a yearly lease, it was less of a risk. So yeah, I signed the lease like in December, I think it was 2017, and then right after Christmas I had a week of vacation for my other job, and I just started building it out. And I built the store without even knowing what it was going to be called. I kind of had a, like, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted it to be like Canadian themed. I like the wildlife aspect and the rustic look I got going on and all that. So I just built out the store, applied for the account, and like heard back a couple days later, and it was all worth the risk. And then yeah, we're kind of here right now, like 2-3 years later.
That's awesome. So Ryan, like, so you're on this journey now. You got Noble North up and running. And when did you know that this was a success? And just so everyone's aware, that's the famous decanter that he takes with him when he's skipping through the forest.
Right?
The perfect leaves. It's one of my. It's an iconic moment from that video when you pause to take a drink.
Exactly. I had to like point that out. Right?
It was perfect. It was perfect. But so when did you know, like, you know, dude, listen, you painted quite the journey here. You went down all these different paths. You're trying to find out what's right for you, what you're passionate about, what you love. Right. And you eventually fall into what that is. You got Noble North going. Now, when do you realize it's a success?
Yeah. So I don't know if it is yet, but it is. Like, it's.
Well, Leon, hold on. Ryan, wait right there. Leon, pull up the slide.
It's probably when he sent his first hat to Iowa.
Right.
Would have been shortly after he opened.
He's probably, what the fuck? Who, like.
Yeah. So this is Sean Austin, rocking the same hat I'm wearing right now. He's a Canadian musician. He would have been wearing this maybe 2 summers ago before COVID hit. Yeah. When you see people wearing your stuff, that's like, it's crazy. You're just like, what the fuck? Like, yeah. But yeah, some more artists, Andrew Hyatt, Cadillac 3, country artists again.
Why is that guy flipping us off? What the fuck's his problem?
It's badass. It's like country rock and roll. Like, he's just sick.
But these dudes are all wearing your hats.
Yeah, they're all wearing my hats, which blows my mind.
Badass,
and it blows my mind seeing people walk down the street wearing my hats, you know. But
yeah.
So this is Cheech from Cheech and Chong. With one of my hats.
Which one's? So why didn't you get Chong to wear one?
Well, the story goes, Cheech was so the photographer. Okay, these guys were on O Cannabis tour in Canada 2 years ago, I think, or last fall or something like that. I forget.
Yeah.
And the photographer, I know the photographer that was doing the meet and greets, and apparently he asked the photographer who was wearing the hat, like, what is that? And he gave him the hat off his head. And then the guy wearing the sunglasses in the middle, he has a couple Noble North hats, and he was transporting them from the airport in Winnipeg to the venue, and he was rocking the hat. And then he sent me these pictures. He was like, dude, you would not believe this. But I didn't know the story till after, when he sent me these pictures. It was like, I don't know, it was just crazy how it happened. And like, I grew up watching the movies when I was a teenager with my brothers, so to see this, it's like, I think a lot of people know Cheech and Chong, so it just blows my mind. Like, what the fuck, you know?
They certainly do. Mead is all excited. He's giddy over there.
Yeah, right. And then Tebe reached out to me like the weekend I opened the store. I opened the store September 2018, and I started renting in January. I was like ready by March when I picked out, like, when I finally got the name finalized and applied for the account with New Era. I was ready. Let's say I was ready by summer, but there's construction out front, so I couldn't open the store till September. So I paid rent all those months, which was really annoying. But anyways, I opened the store, and that weekend Tebe reached out to me on Instagram and was like, hey man, I'm going to be playing the Country Music Awards next week, and it's going to be live on television. I'd love to rock one of your hats. So I was like, hell yeah. And like, I just legit opened the store. Like, I barely sold like the first run of my first hats. Like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, that was on a Sunday night. I'm watching it at home and I just couldn't believe it, right? So Taby's a Canadian country musician. And like he's been rocking my stuff pretty much since day one. So we actually did a collab together. And he sold the hats on his tour with his name on the side, the North Star logo. So that again blew my mind, that like he was like, so what is this? I explained it to him. And then he wore the, like Noble North hat, that North Star, the whole tour. He's worn Noble North hats in different music videos. The photo on the right, well, it's my right. I don't know if it's the big jumbo Tron there.
Yeah.
He had just released a new song, and he's rocking the North Star hat there, and that's the Dundas Square Eden Center, downtown Toronto. So that just, it's so crazy to see people wear your stuff, and when it's in like a medium platform like that, and like it's been on TV and it's just in his promo, and it just blows my mind. Like it's just so crazy. So
it's gotta be a super satisfying thing to see.
It is. And like I was telling Jason earlier, like I must have a horseshoe up my ass. Like I don't know why, but things just snowball, right? Like things just I don't know, people gravitate to things they like, and then that's kind of how all the other artists start wearing it, and then the photographer, and then Cheech, and then in this aspect. But to answer your original question, I think it was like the first Christmas. I was working part-time at the store on weekends and full-time at my other job, and I was like, shit, this might actually work. People were coming in buying hoodies, hats, and then people were buying online, and it was just like, this is crazy. Like it was just a crazy feeling, right?
Yeah. Well, that's that.
Yeah.
Listen, that's awesome, man. I'd love to see some of the other designs that you've done. I mean, listen, someone was in the comments asking why I'm not wearing one of your hats. I have plenty of your hats.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
As a matter of fact, I have every one that's here right now, and the one on the one on the left is my favorite.
Yeah, the Beaver Jacks. So
that's my favorite hat. That's my favorite hat that you've ever done.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so the Beaver Jacks was the first release. Not one. It was one of the first release in the first year. It's just a Canadian beaver wearing his toque and the axes.
Yeah.
And then the design on the right there is a blue jay feather. So that was the first. I started dabbling in that. I wanted to play with that heather. Maybe originally, I look back, maybe I should have done the second version that I did these colorways in. But yeah, it's just, these are things that I wanted to make for the longest time. And just something super clean and simple. And it just represents like where I'm from, Canada, and the things I'm into, and things I've never seen on a hat, right?
Yeah, these are awesome, man. And let's take a look. What's the? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
These are
so
great
then
too.
We also have the Northern Force. I did a double drop the first time. I did those. It's a grizzly bear rocking a Mountie hat. I couldn't figure out which colorway to go with, so I just did two.
Yeah.
And then the North Star and the Bear Explorer were the very first two hats that I released. So those are the first ones that I put my order through with New Era, and those came out. Like, it blew my mind that people even copped those the first day they first came out.
I have everyone on here too.
I love that Bear Explorer. It's one of my favorite hats.
Yeah, and like that was the first one I ever did, and like I'm really picky when it comes to embroidery. Like, so I don't want to go down that route and complain a lot, but I did fix that bear the second time I went around and actually gave him fur. That first time it was just flat. So you guys have the flat version, and I can tell like who's got the OG one when I see it right away. And a lot of times I'll change like the color of the flag or the button when I bring something back, so I know who's got what, right? But yeah, those were the first two releases, and like the North Star is just that end with a star, Noble North. It just kind of came natural. But I legit just whipped up the branding, slapped it around the store, and sent my pictures to New Era. So if they didn't give me an account and give me a chance, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, right? So,
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool.
yeah, so we have the peanut
Leon likes to wear nut huggers, I hear. So that's a good.
It's these are designs that I wanted to make for the longest time, as weird as that sounds. Like, I actually wanted to do a chipmunk on an acorn, but I already had an acorn design. And chipmunks, they always eat peanuts. Like, when you're at your cottage, you're giving chipmunks peanuts, and just went with that like military artwork on the airborne planes and stuff like that. That was really fun and different. It's not Canadian, but it's still like that wildlife that I like doing.
Mhm.
The noble pines, seeing a pine tree actually chomping on an axe. It's not a Beaver Jacks axe, but you can't chop him down. And he's not he's a Christmas tree, but he's not a Christmas tree, right? Like, you can't bring him in your house because he'll chomp on your axe, right? So, and then the Canada Goose, it's a Canadian theme. And I kind of like try to mash things together, just thinking of how I want to do a goose. And it's just that classic college style. And you don't see that up here in Canada. It's so popular down south, right? So, and he's rocking the North Star on his sweater. And like geese, you don't want to be around them. Like, they're dangerous. Yeah, they're assholes.
Yeah.
So like, it's just a good mascot logo, right? And I call it Goose mascot. Like, some of my names, I feel like I'm the worst at names. Like, sometimes when I send it to New Era, it's just
You're not the only one. You're not the only one. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a
hard.
Canadian thing, because Leon creates all of these weird ass names for clink hats, whatever hat. He's got names for all your hats too, I'm sure.
Yeah. So by the time they come in, I'm like, I still don't have a proper name for anything. And I'm just like, what am I going to call this? Like, I don't even know. Like, I wish I didn't have to call it anything. Yeah. So these were all kind of like, this was my second year releasing, like, having the store. So these were released last year, but these were the first version of these colorways, this design. So yeah.
It's awesome, man. So now hold on before we hit the next one, because I think this is all the past stuff. Now what we're about to show is, what are we about to show?
All right, yeah. So I don't normally show what I'm working on or what's about to release, and there's a good reason. There's lots of reasons why. COVID's a good reason this year, because a lot of this stuff was submitted to New Era, like, let's say January, February, March.
Mm-hmm.
So these are sneak previews of some new releases. Finally, I'm getting some stuff coming through that I can order, and yeah.
Let's take a look. Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, Leon, you outdid yourself here, buddy.
Nice.
You outdid yourself. Look at this.
All right, you guys ready? We're never seen before.
Wait a second. Is the curtain going to open, or is this just going to be a slide change?
It's just gonna be a slide change. But these are gonna be never seen before previews. So let's take a look.
Ooh, okay. Tell us about this one, Ryan.
Yeah, so with the North Star design, I just wanted to do something clean and simple, and kind of replace it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a classic circle patch, I guess you'd call it, but this is going to be embroidered. Noble North. I'm going with the classic black as the first release. If this were to have been released in the summer, I had a bunch of fun colorways in the fall. I had some colorways, but yeah, so this is coming, scheduled delivery early December. So I'm hoping to sneak it in before Christmas. And there's a second colorway that I've also done. So I'm going with the gray heather and the black visor. This one pops a little more on that gray. That should be a nice fall hat, winter hat. So just some clean and simple. I find some people just like the branded stuff, and then some people like the character stuff, you know. Some people like both. So kind of like, you know, I just want to do my thing, and this is something I want to do. So yeah.
That's cool, man. Oh shit, what's this?
All right. So this is a Sasquatch.
Dude.
It's pretty bad. So I kind of got a thing with axes. I don't know why. I just feel like it's a prop that I want to, instead of a baseball bat, like a lot of minor league teams and stuff like that. I got the Sasquatch rocking or holding a axe and then a lantern in his other hand, running through the woods. You can kind of see in the background there the moon, and then the highlights on the pine trees. So envision, you know, a family or a group of friends at a campfire, and this guy comes out of the woods. I kind of thought it would be hilarious doing a hat with like the people going like this, but you know, doing it kind of like a package or like a t-shirt that went with this hat. But I think this one's just way more badass that no one would want the other one. But the idea that came up with this, and actually, sorry, the back logo as well, it's the Sasquatch holding the North Star logo. Playing around with that a little bit more lately as well. I kind of go, I don't know, like I like the fictional characters and stuff like that, and just want to do a badass Sasquatch. So
this is cool.
I've seen the tapes for this. I received them back in March, but they haven't been corrected since. So I'm hoping this will release early 2021. And there's going to be a lot of cool detail in the embroidery that you can't see. Like for example, on the trees in the back, there's like actually shapes of the trees in black. There's two clouds in front of the moon. It looks like two clouds, but there's three. So I'm going to play with that with the embroidery and like have the Sasquatch popped out. And then just that glow from the lantern, just like really playing with something like that. I've seen a couple old designs. People have done that. I don't know if I've seen it on hats, but yeah. Any questions about this guy here?
Super cool, man. I don't have any questions other than when.
One of the best things I love about your character hats, if you will, is how you tie the front logo into the back logo. Like this one.
Yeah, kind of like
on those Peaky Blinders. Yeah.
Sometimes it comes natural. Like I just have that idea, and I'm like, with the fox, it was like, of course I'm gonna put a foxtail on the back, right? Now that I have a little more time to kind of think of what I want to do, the first year I was kind of just trying to get stuff out there. So there are some hats just with the plain North Star in the back. But yeah, this one's a little fun. The back logo there. And hopefully it's like a teal. I'm not sure what teal yet, because there's like all these different blues, and I don't have a book, and I don't have, like, I have pictures of the thread, but I don't know which blue that is. And then I don't know, it's going to be hard to pick out the right teal. But I've already been playing around with different colorways for this, for different times of the year, but this has just been sitting around since like February, March, and this was supposed to be a summer release. It's got that camp vibe, and I think you're going to see a lot of stuff coming in the new year that might not go exactly with the seasons, but I need to have it. I can't wait any longer, right? So.
Right.
What's next, Leah? Oh wow.
All right. So last year I did the Frost Day, and he was a snowman baseball. He was chucking you. He was a snowball that was being chucked or hit out of the park or whatever. So this year I thought I'm gonna do something with hockey. So I started thinking about this back in May because I knew what was going on with COVID, and I don't typically do a lot of releases that are related around holidays because it's such a risk. And but anyways, so I got Santa Claus with his hockey cane or candy cane hockey stick, and his puck is a cookie. And yeah, it's just a cool, fun Christmas hat. On the back logo, I played around with the Noble North. Normally, the middle has the maple leaf, and I got the snowflake back there. And just like a Santa Claus colorway, I guess. I've seen the tapes for this, but I've asked for some changes, and I have maybe one more order deadline that I could air freight these and get them in time for Christmas. Otherwise, they're going to come next year. But I want to show this just as a sneak preview.
Yeah.
I kind of thought, pardon me?
That thing is cool, man.
Thank you. If I don't get it for Christmas, I kind of thought in my head, like, maybe I could spin it like Christmas in July or something like that. So I could get it out earlier. But this stuff I submitted to New Era, like, I think it was May or June. So just with everything going on this year, and I'm just a small shop, so I don't really get, I'm on the bottom of the totem pole. So everybody else gets their stuff before me, right? So, but I just appreciate when I do get it. But unfortunately, the black lines on this overpowered everything else, so I have to reverse the embroidery on this. What I've done on like the Noble Pines, where the background is all black, and then you layer each piece on top. So I was trying to do it all raised, and it didn't look right. It just overpowered everything, and this has happened before, so I just got to go back and fix it. But usually when you go back and fix it, it just takes twice as long as the first time you even got it. But yeah,
cool.
This is the last one for the preview. So
yeah,
these are, listen, this is some good stuff, man. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm really floored first with the designs, but also the fact that you brought it on to show us here live. So listen, Ryan, I appreciate that so much, man. If you weren't skipping into my heart before, you certainly are now.
For sure.
So
yeah, no.
Let's pull this down, Leon. Is that okay? Can we pull this down?
Yeah.
Now I do have some new hats as well here that I could show. They're just new colorways that will be dropping in November. Do you want to?
Sure.
Yeah. See them? It's just the Beaver Jacks. So when I first ordered these, I don't know if you. So what I've done,
yeah, we can see it good
colorway, but I'm doing a red undervisor on this one. When I first ordered these back in February and released them in July there, I obviously didn't order enough, so I brought them back. It's got the maple leaf on the back.
Very cool.
And then the Zamboni's back.
People were clamoring about that in the comments.
Yeah, they were.
The red or the red visor this time. Last time it was the Royal. So just switched it up. The fire wheel on the back.
That's nice, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just like a Cubs kind of colorway, but a Zamboni's blue. But so I got these. These are releasing next month, probably in the middle of November. And I'm bringing Frost Day back. Should probably be in mid to late November. I didn't show my mock-up of that because I think you're going to have to see it in the photos or even in person, just based on some of the materials I've used in embroidery and stuff like that. And sorry, I forgot, the Santa Claus is going to have, like, I made sure that his beard has the details as well. So like a lot of things you got to like play with, you got to prep the files so that it embroiders the way you want it. Otherwise, sometimes New Era doesn't do it the way you want it. And then it goes, I wish I had something that I could show. Anyways, so usually
It just doesn't meet your expectations unless you take those extra steps and go that extra mile to make sure that you've prepared the file properly.
Exactly. So like I said, like the Bear Explorer, I had to go in and create the bear fur that I wanted, because it's just taking forever for them to do it for me. The wolf, we had to, I went in and created all the actual fur I wanted, because they do, I call it filler. I don't know what it's actually called, that filler in there. And it's just, there's no creativity to it. So I try to make that in the files so that it just comes out the way I want it, right? So
yeah.
Very cool.
Listen, Ryan, I want to thank you so much for this. I do want you to stay on with us if that's okay.
Yeah,
but on behalf of everybody, I just want to thank you for coming on, sharing your story, sharing more about your brand, and also giving us a peek behind the curtain of what's coming next. I mean, not everyone is willing to do that, and I really, truly appreciate that. And also, your ability to kind of select the best leaves possible for the piles in which you take your photos is fucking spectacular. And again, I wish you well, not only in your business endeavors, but in your Olympic skipping competition that you're going to be taking part in soon, I'm sure. But listen, Ryan, it was great, man, talking to you. And I hope I hope you know how much we respect you and love your stuff. And I'm just so happy to have had you on today. So